Welcome to the HTMA Success Practitioner's Corner, a special series in which Susan Cachay highlights the incredible work being done by graduates of the HTMA Success Practitioner Training Program.
Okay, welcome everybody to another edition of HTMA Success Practitioner's Corner, and I'm here today with Diane Yoder. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Susan. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and Diane's one of our HTMA Success grads, and so just wanted to go through and just kind of find out a little bit more about your experience as a practitioner. And one of the first questions I'd like to start off with is how HTMA has shaped your approach to wellness. Like how has it changed things for you or informed the way that you work with your clients?
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking about that a little bit before we got on the call, and I don't think my story starts out like most people's, because at the very beginning, when I had trained to become a practitioner, HTMA was kind of with the training, but it wasn't explained like we use it. So it's more like using replacement theory. So
Right.
the reason I became a practitioner in the first place was from not feeling well and wanting to help other people feel better as I had been getting better.
Yeah.
But the test intrigued me a lot. And so I actually started using it on myself based off of the lab's kind of recommendations,
Yep.
which is kind of not always correct, but it did give me a good start. I think the biggest thing was the doses were way too high, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I went through pretty big eliminations right away with not really any guidance, and I felt pretty awful. But at the same time, I could see things visibly improving, like acne that I had never been able to get rid of, and hair loss that started resolving and things like that. So I had started hearing about it more, through you and Clark and some other people on social media, and started using it a little bit more accurately after that. And that's kind of how I got started with it, is maybe pretty clunky at first, but then using it better as I learn more.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I think that I kind of stumbled across it like that. And I do think that a number of practitioners are like that. And then they kind of need to figure out, well, wait a second, how do I really unpack this and use this as a tool? And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to create the most comprehensive program I could. And the program that I wish I had when I was learning this, because there are a lot of different avenues to go down. And some people use HTMA just in the way of, oh, you're low on this, we're going to give you that, or you're high on this, we're not going to give you that, which we know it's not about replacement therapy. You can sometimes have very high calcium and magnesium or other levels of minerals, and it actually means in your tissues you have a deficiency, it's low, it's a loss. So the interpretation is so important. And yeah, there's a lot of practitioners that do very heavy supplement protocols. I haven't found that that's necessary. Certainly when you're more sensitive, you can't really handle it as much, but also many people don't need really super high amounts of supplements to shift and change, right? So that's one of the benefits of doing the retest, where we can really get a sense of what's working, how the body's responding, and how the body is shifting. So yeah, glad you found HTMA Success. And so how have you integrated HTMA into the work that you do? Like, so do you work with HTMA exclusively, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. So mostly in the beginning, I did blood work as a practitioner, but when I found HTMA, I was so enthused with it. And I started in the beginning just like testing family members and friends and using it on myself, that it worked so fast that I mostly do that now in my practice. And I still do blood work occasionally, but a lot less. And I would say probably run the HTMA on 99% of my clients.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? Because blood testing can certainly augment what we're doing, but when you're looking at the body at a cellular level, it really gives you that great overall roadmap of what to do, right, to help shift the body chemistry. And what's the biggest lesson that you think you've learned from applying HTMA, from using HTMA, either for yourself or with your clients or both?
Yeah. I have to think about that a little bit. The biggest lesson, I'm not sure, honestly. One of them for myself that I learned, like I said in the beginning, just following the lab's recommendations, the
Yeah.
dosage was so intense that it was a good lesson for me to experience that, to not, use that in practice as much.
Yeah.
So that was a big one, but mostly like keeping people's individuality in mind. And I tend to start a lot more on the conservative side of things versus just diving in with really large, heavy amounts of any changes, kind of.
Yeah, and that's a really good point to bring up, because I think that again, there's some practitioners or some people even that go, hey, I think I can just do this program by myself. And really there's so much value in working with a practitioner that has had a lot of training and is really skilled in starting more slowly and then working up, seeing how the body responds. Because I think that things can be overwhelming too, right? If you just kind of, for a lot of people's bodies, if you start too full on and not slowly enough, it just becomes overwhelming. And therefore, the body kind of shuts down, and that itself can throw the body into a further sympathetic dominance pattern, right? Which we don't want. We want to keep the body nice and calm. So I'm sorry you had that experience, but one of the things that you mentioned, what I totally agree with, is that having that experience makes you more aware that, heck, not everybody tolerates super high doses of supplements, and, you can start slowly and actually almost in the long run have better results.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so what advice would you give to practitioners that are just getting started with HTMA? Like, what would you kind of recommend to them?
Maybe applying whatever you're learning as fast as you're learning it, more like instead of hesitating, just like ask family members to run their tests or
Right.
doing it on yourself or whatever to gain confidence in it. Or that's probably one of the things that helped me the most is I would ask people to run their tests that were close to me, not just like random strangers, but
Yeah.
and then I would ask for their feedback once they were on the protocol. I did a lot of it for, very low cost to make it very easy for them to do it and for my learning experience. And I didn't have a large clientele at the moment, so it was a large benefit to me. And a lot of those people ended up having, really great results to the point that most of my clients came from word of mouth out of those people that had used it in the beginning. But yeah, probably using it as fast as you're learning it, even if it feels clunky at first, so that you kind of gain confidence with it. I did use it on myself mostly in the beginning to help know what it feels like, because right at the start, when I had been using the lab's, recommendations, I found some really great things, but also really rough parts. So I wanted to further experiment on myself before I used it with others. And it
Mhm.
helped me like getting through the eliminations. They can be pretty awful, but then also like the reward afterwards was worth it. That really helped me know that it would possibly be a great fit for others as well.
Yeah, interesting. And yes, that's great, great recommendation, because I think that it is true with this, that there's a lot of information, and the more that you're able to just look at a chart and make sense of it and interpret it, the more practice you get, the easier it becomes. And even in HTMA Success, there's 7 case studies that people are required to do, students are required to do, and then there's optional case studies. And for anybody listening, I'm always willing to even send more. Like, if you're in a position where you're wanting to enroll in HTMA Success and you're thinking, I'm not sure if I have a lot of people to look at charts right now, Diane, as you mentioned, yeah, family members, friends, that's awesome. And I certainly can provide extra charts if people are ever willing to do more or wanting to have a look at more. So yeah, putting it into practice is important. Great. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today. If anybody is interested in HTMA Success, the HTMA practitioner training program, just look in the description box below. If anybody's interested in getting in touch with Diane, her information will be down there as well. And yeah, thank you. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay.